Imagine a moment that split history into a before and after. A single event so profound that it changed the way humanity saw itself and its place in the universe. In the quiet of an ordinary evening, the world was about to be transformed forever. For the space age, that moment was October 4th, 1957. On that day, the world awoke to news that would echo across continents and generations. The Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1, a polished metal sphere just 23 inches wide and 184 pounds, into orbit. It was a technological marvel, simple in appearance but revolutionary in impact. Its impact was seismic, shaking global power and ambition. Overnight, the balance of technological leadership shifted, and the world's superpowers were forced to reconsider their place in the new order. Circling Earth every 96 minutes at 18,000 miles per hour, Sputnik was more than a scientific experiment, it was a statement. Its steady path above the planet was a symbol of possibility and a warning. For the first time, a human-made object orbited above, proving space was within reach. People everywhere gazed up, some in awe, others in fear, as the future arrived overhead. The launch ignited the space race, a fierce competition between the Soviet Union and the United States for technological supremacy. It was no longer just about science, it was about national pride, security, and the future of humanity. The R-7 Semyorka rocket, originally designed for nuclear warfare, carried Sputnik into space, highlighting the same rockets that could explore the cosmos could also threaten life on Earth. The world realized that the same rockets could deliver weapons anywhere on Earth, intensifying Cold War fears. Suddenly, the boundaries between science and military power blurred, and the stakes grew higher than ever before. The satellite's beeping was both a marvel and a chilling reminder of new vulnerabilities. Radios everywhere picked up its signal, a steady mechanical heartbeat from space, impossible to ignore. America, caught off guard, scrambled to respond, leading to the creation of NASA and the launch of Explorer 1. The nation poured resources into science and engineering, determined not to fall behind. Sputnik forced a re-evaluation of military strategy, education, and national priorities. Schools shifted focus to math and science, and governments invested in research like never before. The race to the stars had begun, forever changing the course of human history. The dream of space exploration was no longer science fiction, it was a global mission, with humanity's future hanging in the balance. The sky was no longer the world would never look at the night sky the same way again, as the journey into the unknown had truly begun. What was Sputnik 1? At its core, a marvel of simplicity and function. Designed by Sergei Korolev's team, it was a pressurized aluminum sphere with 4 whip-like antennas to transmit radio signals. Its polished surface reflected sunlight, regulating internal temperature. Inside, pressurized nitrogen gas stabilized electronics and detected meteorite impacts. If punctured, the gas would leak, altering the radio signal. Powered by silver zinc batteries, Sputnik's mission was basic proof of artificial satellite in orbit Earth. It also measured atmospheric density and tracking orbital decay and tested radio tracking methods. Every design choice answered fundamental questions about spaceflight. Sputnik wasn't a laboratory, it was a trailblazer, humanity's first step into the cosmos. Its simplicity was its genius, opening the door for all that followed. Sputnik's most iconic feature wasn't its look, it was its sound. That simple, repetitive beep became a symbol of a new era, a sound that would ripple across the globe and into history. For 22 days, Sputnik broadcast a rhythmic beep on 2 radio frequencies, a signal that could be picked up by anyone with the right equipment. Amateur radio operators, scientists, and curious listeners everywhere tuned in, straining to catch the faint, otherworldly pulse from above. Suddenly, the future was no longer a distant dream. Anyone could listen to it passing overhead. Families gathered around radios, children pressed their ears to speakers, and people gazed up at the night sky, imagining the tiny satellite circling far above. The beeps weren't just noise, they encoded temperature and pressure data, a primitive but effective form of telemetry. Each pulse carried information, a coded message from the edge of space, proving that humanity could reach beyond Earth and measure the unknown. The world was hearing the first weather report from space. For the first time, data about the conditions in orbit was being sent directly to Earth, opening up new possibilities for science and exploration. In the West, the sound inspired both awe and anxiety. It It was a reminder of the technological gap and the growing tension of the Cold War. The beeps echoed in living rooms and newsrooms, fueling debates and sparking a sense of urgency. News stations played the beeps over the airwaves, making them the eerie, unforgettable soundtrack of the space age. The sound was both a marvel and a warning, a signal that the world had changed overnight. For scientists and dreamers, the beep was a call to action, a challenge to reach further, to innovate, and to imagine new possibilities. It inspired a generation to look up and wonder what else might be possible. Sputnik's signal transcended borders and languages, announcing a new era for all humanity. It united people in curiosity and wonder, reminding everyone that the sky was no longer the limit. The cosmos was no longer silent, it was speaking, and for the first time, the world was truly listening, together. Sputnik's launch sent a shockwave through the United States. Disbelief turned to fear and humiliation as America's technological leadership was questioned. The Sputnik crisis triggered urgent debates about military security, education, and innovation. Politicians sounded alarms. The public feared Soviet missiles could soon follow satellites. The Eisenhower administration tried to reassure the nation, but secret intelligence couldn't be shared. The perception of American failure grew, and pressure to respond mounted. The crisis forced a national reckoning. Was America investing enough in science and education? The answer was clear. Change was needed. Sputnik galvanized the government, scientists, and the public to action. The U.S. would mobilize resources and talent, determined not just to catch up, but to lead. The race to space became a race for the nation's future. 13. On October 4, 1957, the world changed forever. The Soviet Union launched Sputnik, the first artificial satellite, into Earth's orbit. Its beeping signal echoed across the globe, a clear message that humanity had entered a new era. Sputnik's launch officially started the space race, igniting both awe and anxiety in people everywhere. What had been slow, methodical scientific progress suddenly became a frantic sprint for orbital dominance. Scientists and engineers on both sides worked around the clock, racing to outdo each other with new discoveries and technological breakthroughs. The United States responded quickly, launching Explorer 1 in January 1958. This satellite carried scientific instruments that led to the discovery of the Van Allen radiation belts, a major milestone in space science and a point of national pride. But one satellite wasn't enough. America realized it needed a unified, coordinated effort to keep up. The challenge was bigger than any single mission or agency. In July 1958, the United States created NASA, consolidating its scattered space projects under one roof. This new agency gave the U.S. a clear mandate to compete, innovate, and lead in the new frontier of space. Meanwhile, the Soviets kept the pressure on. They sent the first animal, Laika the dog, into orbit and launched the first lunar probe, achieving a series of dramatic firsts that captured the world's imagination. They even sent back the first photos of the moon's mysterious far side, revealing sights no human had ever seen before. Each Soviet first pushed NASA to aim higher, fueling a sense of urgency and determination. The competition was fierce, and the world watched every launch, every success, and every setback. The finish line kept moving, from launching satellites to sending humans into space, and ultimately to the bold goal of landing astronauts on the moon. Sputnik didn't just open space, it started a relentless race through it, inspiring generations to look up and dream bigger than ever before. The stakes were nothing less than global prestige, scientific discovery, and the future itself, a contest that would shape the destiny of nations and the course of human history. Sputnik sparked a revolution in American science and education. Fears of falling behind led to a national push for STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. The National Defense Education Act of 1958 poured federal funds into schools, labs, and student loans. New programs supported language learning, especially Russian and advanced research. NASA and DARPA were born, driving innovations from the internet to GPS. Scientists and engineers became national heroes, astronauts, global icons. Science fiction surged as reality caught up with imagination. Sputnik made science exciting and urgent, inspiring a generation of innovators. The legacy of this educational shift still shapes our world today. 10. Behind the scenes, Sputnik's launch had deep military implications. The same rockets that launched satellites could deliver nuclear warheads. Space became the new high ground for for surveillance and communication. The U.S. developed the Corona Spy satellite program, revolutionizing intelligence gathering. Satellites enabled secure global military communications and navigation, precursors to GPS. The militarization of space raised new concerns. Could satellites become weapons? Treaties like the 1967 Outer Space Treaty aimed to keep space peaceful, but the line was thin. Sputnik ensured military strategists would always watch the skies. Space exploration and military ambition became forever intertwined. 11. Sputnik was the first step towards sending humans into space. The next challenge: could living creatures survive the journey? The Soviets launched Laika, the first animal in orbit, just a month after Sputnik. Her mission proved life could endure space, paving the way for human flight. In 1961, Yuri Gagarin became the first person to orbit Earth, a triumph that stunned the world. His flight inspired President Kennedy's pledge to reach the moon. Each mission built on the labs driving rapid innovation in life support, electronics, and medicine. The journey from a Venus sphere to human spaceflight was breathtakingly incredible. Sputnik was the spark. Gagarin and the astronauts were the fire, carrying our dreams into the cosmos. Looking back, Sputnik's launch was a turning point of the 20th century. That 184-pound sphere did more than orbit Earth. It reshaped our world. The space race accelerated science, technology, and exploration. Satellite infrastructure from GPS to weather forecasting began with Sputnik's first mission. Space-based discoveries and a new cosmic perspective changed how we see ourselves. Images like Earthrise inspired environmentalism and a sense of shared destiny. Sputnik's story is a testament to the power of a single event to change history. It inspired nations to invest in science, education, and bold dreams. The journey that began in 1957 continues with every new mission. Sputnik opened the door to space and to the future.